Today we have Carol Ann Janecki from your CFO Advisory Group. Carol Ann, how would you recommend saving for my first home?
Well, a great way to save for your first home is by investing in registered retirement savings plans. Not only do you get the immediate personal tax deduction of contributing to an RSP, but the Government of Canada has a program called the First Time Home Buyers Plan that permits you to withdraw up to $25,000 from your RSP, tax-free and interest-free. It's important that you understand all the conditions associated with making that withdrawal. Conditions are fairly simple to achieve. Things like you need to be a resident of Canada. You need to have maintained a balance in your account at least 90 days prior to your withdrawal. You need to be the person who will occupy the home at least within 1 year of the withdrawal. Conditions like that need to be met, but it's a great way to get more bang for your buck.
Oh, thank you. How long does the funds have to stay in your RRSP account before you can use them for your down payment?
Well, the Government of Canada says that in order to receive the tax deduction for the RSP contribution, you have to wait 90 days before you can withdraw those funds. So if you make a contribution on March the 1st, you can't withdraw those funds until July the 1st.
Thank you. How much can I withdraw from my RRSP account and how do I pay this back?
That's a great question. In fact, the Government of Canada will allow every owner of the home to withdraw up to $25,000. So if you were to purchase a home with a spouse or with a spouse and your parents, if you qualify as an eligible first-time home buyer, each of you can withdraw up to $25,000. The repayment period essentially starts 2 years after the year of withdrawal, and you have up to 15 years to repay the amount that you've withdrawn. There are a few small conditions that could trigger a repayment prior to that 15-year period. For example, if one of the participants passed away, or if you became a non-resident sometime after you had purchased that home. Those are conditions that would require you to repay the funds in advance, but for most people, it's a 15-year payback, interest-free.
Excellent, thank you. May I use my RRSP funds that I've withdrawn for closing costs, furniture, renovations to my new home?
Absolutely. The money that you withdraw from your RRSP doesn't have to be used towards the purchase of the home in any way. In fact, as long as you have a written agreement and are eligible under all the conditions of the plan, you can use that money to landscape your garden, go on vacation. In fact, you can even use that money towards a down payment on a new home, a different home than the one you're actually withdrawing the money for.
Carol Ann, when may I withdraw the money from my RRSP account once I've completed a purchase agreement?
Once you've completed the purchase agreement, you can withdraw the funds up to your point of closing and occupation and up to 30 days after that. The time horizon between the original purchase and the occupation of the home can't be more than 1 year. So generally people withdraw the funds sometime 30, 60, 90 days before they actually occupy the home. And then, as I said, not more than 30 days after you occupy the home.
Perfect, thank you. Who reports the withdrawal to Canada Revenue?
It's another good question. It's actually a very simple process. There is a one-page form called a T1036 that is generally completed with the RRSP provider. The information that you're asked on the form essentially ensures that you are an eligible home buyer's participant, with questions like, do you have a written agreement? Are you a resident of Canada? Again, a very simple one-page document. That form is signed by all the people who are looking to withdraw funds from the under the HBP plan, and then the RRSP provider will submit that form to Revenue Canada on your behalf. Revenue Canada will then send you a letter, usually 12 to 18 months after your date of withdrawal, letting you know how much you need to start repaying back and when. And it is, of course, your responsibility to then start repaying that money. And that's a simple process of basically recontributing money that you have withdrawn from an RSP back to an RSP. So it's a very simple process.
Thank you. Carol Ann, may I use my RRSP funds for the purchase of a rental property?
Under the home buyer's plan, the answer to that question is no. One of the requirements to be an eligible participant is that you intend to occupy the home within 1 year of the withdrawal.
Carol Ann, is there any advantage for me to use my RRSP savings as opposed to my non-registered savings for a down payment?
Well, I think that the answer to that question is that RSP savings give you two benefits. When you contribute to an RSP, you receive an immediate personal tax deduction. For example, if you were to contribute $10,000 to an RSP and your gross annual income was about $50,000 a year, you would reduce your tax liability by about $3,000.
Wow.
That $3,000 is really additional savings towards your down payment. So I think the advantage of RRSP savings towards a down payment for a first home relate to the immediate tax deduction in addition to the ability to withdraw under the home buyer's plan up to $25,000 tax-free and interest-free.
Carol Ann, I've got an RRSP from a previous employer where I used to work. Can I use these funds as a down payment?
Well, it would depend. If the funds that you have from your former employer were a result of a pension you had with that employer, the answer is no, because the type of RSP you now hold is called a locked-in RSP. And funds within a locked-in RSP are not eligible to be withdrawn under the home buyer's plan. If the plan with your former employer was simply a group RRSP, the answer is possibly. In other words, we would have to probably make a few small changes with respect to the structure of that plan, but the likelihood is that yes, those funds would be eligible for withdrawal.
Carol Ann, we'd like to thank you so much for your time today. If people have got additional questions, we do have on our website Ask the Experts. Can we forward questions on to you in this regard?
Oh, absolutely. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.